Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on crypto. Just wanted to get a couple of things out there because I'm still in the train of thought doing research, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about, you know, how did how did Binance know to pull that money? 850 million dollars. How did Nexo know to pull their money? 219 million dollars. That's over $1 billion that left FTX in a heartbeat. I'm not going to bother to get into the hack that happened today. I'm pretty sure that everybody's talking about the hack and whether or not it was an inside job or whatever. Don't care. Don't care. Right? I don't care. I don't have any money on FTX, FTX US, FTX, .com. I don't have any money stored there. My philosophy is I use centralized exchanges for specific reasons, not to store assets, no matter how good the exchange is. I store my assets. I have my keys. My keys, my money. My keys, my assets. My keys, my crypto. Period. That's how I operate. Handle the transaction if I need you. Handle the transaction, move my assets. But I'm curious, how did they know to move that money? How did they know, well in advance? Well in advance. Now, here's something else that you can compare. Nexo kept it quiet. They didn't say anything loud. They just did it. Kept it quiet, moved off to the side. Binance was transparent. When I look back, I kind of say, well, maybe they had no other choice than to move the whole 850. Cool, got it. But they didn't just move it, did they? They moved it and they got out there and were yapping about it, or CZ got out there and was yapping about it. Now, I find nothing wrong with him. He did what he had to do, and maybe he felt, error on the side of transparency. There's no reason for me to do anything else to protect Sam Bankman-Fried or FTX. I have to protect my people on my platform, and there you go. But wow, the difference in how everything moved. Nexo said nothing. Binance was very loud about it. Now let's put that to the side. Then you've got Elon Musk coming out and he's saying, oh, my BS meter, was redlining, blah, blah, blah. Bruh. My BS meter for Elon red lines. It stays on red line with that guy. Stays there. Savior of Twitter and Twitter's. I want you to think about this. I want you to think about how things work or how things used to work. Back in the day, if Elon said something about Doge would skyrocket. Have you been noticing that when he says something about Doge, it barely registers a blip? From then to now, barely registers a blip. Now, you all know that I pulled my money. I pulled my liquidated my Doge assets, all of them. I don't hold a single Doge, period. Now, that could be good, that could be bad, but that was my decision based on the information that I had at the time. The information I had at the time is Doge is not widely used, in my humble opinion. And if it's not widely used, if there's no big development going on, if there are no use cases that are out there, and the only thing that's driving its upward momentum is when some rich dude decides to yap about it, I can take advantage of that yapping. But when I see that yapping starting to fall off and I don't see some kind of a plan, some kind of a roadmap, there's a problem. Something else that I considered was, Elon Musk has a lot to say out in public, and then you turn around and he has something else to say in private. And you can say that about everybody, but you're talking about supposedly the world's richest man. Most of his riches are tied up in stock or something like that. So is he rich? Sure. By certain calculations, he is the world's richest man. I'm pretty sure there are a lot more people that are more liquid than he is. I'll say that. Now, he went out there talking about how, his BS meter went off when he had the conversation with Sam Bankman-Fried and blah, 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 blah. This coming from a guy who is busy running one company into the ground while having a tremendous negative impact on another company. You went and you bought Twitter, Tesla's suffering because you went and sold a huge chunk of Tesla stock. And where have you been? Where have you been all this time? Where have you been? You're not running Tesla. So Tesla suffers while you break Twitter, and then we're supposed to turn around and listen to you as you talk about, oh, well, basically he's saying, oh, I knew he was full of it. You did you? Really? Did you? Really? I don't think so. Unless Sam Bankman-Fried's BS smelled worse than yours, and you figured, well, if his smells worse than mine, I don't want it. Oh, okay, cool. You can go with that. That happens. That's a real thing. But I take everything with, a grain of salt, right? So looking at Doge, why would I hold Doge? I mean, literally when I sold yesterday, I sold at 9 cents. I sold at 9 cents. It's 9.1 now. I think maybe actually it's 9.3. That's not much of a movement. And that was based on Elon starting his meeting with Doge. Great. Maybe you have great plans and everything else. How are you going to implement those plans if you've already walked into an organization and killed it? I'm not saying that you can't resurrect it. I'm not saying that you can't bring it back or anything else like that. I'm just saying when I look at Elon and I look at Twitter, how is that going to happen now? He would need Binance to step in with their team, create a wallet, create an API so that Twitter would be able to use that to handle authentication or, expand their tips program, open it up to different coins. As far as I'm concerned, if Binance does it, BNB chain is going to be involved. And because Elon loves Doge, Doge would be involved. But you'd need a third party to make that investment. And here you are talking about bankruptcy. It could be worth it to CZ to do it, right? That's why he created that Bluebird, index. That's great. But I need more than that for me to stay in Doge. And I'm getting into this so you understand what, how I'm looking at things in terms of how I do my research and everything else, right? So I take all of that in. And mind you, it's not to say that Doge is not a good project. It's I use Doge. I've used, when I was going to move Doge into liquidation, position, it took a long time. I mean, for the transaction to complete. Because literally, once the first confirmation hits, all the nodes know that's going to happen. At 6, the recommendation from the Doge community, at 6 confirmations, it's an irreversible transaction. So basically, the first transaction says that transaction is happening. If that was in a store, you would just take the money and you'd let them walk out because that transaction is happening. And in a little while, you have, X number of transactions and it'll, the money will move, the assets will move over. It's fat. The whole process, if you look at how fast credit cards handle a transaction, that's not really handling a transaction. I have a video about that. Go look at that one. Right? But I'm looking at Doge and I just said, wow, I can move assets a lot. I can move things a lot faster with Polygon, with so many other coins that are out there. But Polygon seems to be mad fast. Polygon, Stellar, mad fast. I think even Algorand is faster. Cardano is faster. So I look at those coins and I'm like, yeah, that's actually kind of cool. That I can move value that quickly. So what are the utilities for Doge? People are still calling it a meme coin because it still is. That's why they're still calling it a meme coin. When you look at Shiba Inu, you can't really continue to call Shiba Inu a meme coin. They have a lot going on. They have a lot of utility going on. Shiba Inu is actually very popular in Europe. So I sit there and I just kind of go, wow, just how is that happening? Right? You have no utility other than Elon said. And I was good for it. I was like, all right, I made my money off of Doge. Kids made their money off of Doge. I'm it's facts. But right now, when Elon opens his mouth, Doge isn't moving the way it used to. Right? So we're going to need to see something actually happen before we see real movement in Doge. He'll say, okay, we're going to work on this project. Great, you're working on that project. I might not buy in because I need to see it, right? Oh, so we're going to work on this project for Twitter. But if Twitter is dead or dying, what does that really mean? There are other places where I can actually see use cases, utility for other projects. So that was my thinking to get out of Doge. I had a lot of people asking me, what was your thought process? Why did you do it? When did you finally decide to pull the trigger? I decided to pull the trigger when I realized the math worked out that I would basically break even. I had made my money previously, and right now I didn't want to lose money. Because if I look at it right now from 0.09.091 to where it is today, you know what? Let me go look at where it is today. It's at 0.092. And some people will say, well, it's green. Like, yes, it's green. If you'd have bought Doge yesterday when it hit 0.078 cents, right? And you look at it today at 0.092, you would have been able to make that money. The question is, what would have happened if it kept going down? Again, that's the calculation I was making in my head, which is, where's the utility? I purchase coins based on utility, based on their usefulness. I'm not telling you what to do, but me and my kids, that's what this whole video, social media thing is all about, is, me and my kids, doing things. I've got 4 kids. We're not always in the same place at the same time. It's easier for me to shoot a video, and then they can watch it whenever they want. And then on an individual basis, we'll sit down and we'll talk about what we're doing. Quick, easy communication, quick, easy lessons to share. But I look at 0.092, and I looked at where I was at 0.09, 0.091, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to break even, and I'm going to be done with Doge for a little while. There are other places where I can place all that money. Right? I can place it in Polygon, Cardano, XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum. I can do all those kinds of things. I mean, when I look at this one, it didn't move. Usually Elon would have said something about Doge, and Doge would have shot up 3, 4, 5, 6 cents. It's moving at thousandths of a cent. So I'm like, yeah. So it had already been on its way back from last night. So what? He moved the coin a penny. So yesterday was at 0.091. Now it's at 0.092. He didn't move the coin. That's not an Elon effect. So I wonder if the Elon effect means anything. If it's even there anymore. Because right now the Elon effect seems to be, if he touches it, it gets ruined. So that's my nutshell for today. I mean, I'm not going to go over any numbers. It's Saturday. I kind of want to just enjoy the day. Probably going to do a little bit of work. We've got some, we do have news. My company, we do have news. It'll come out, but we're actually going to sit on it for a little while. We're going to wait for the dust to settle, about FTX and that whole thing, and then we'll make an announcement. But we want that to all settle and go away first. All right. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. Please do your own research. All right. Have a good one. Bye-bye.